Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Uh,
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Today is our 13th session. Today's today we'll discuss about SDG number 6, clean water and sanitization. It has two parts. I will take the first part, which is seasons, include with cold, hot months, weather, favorite season, uh, uh, extreme weather, uh, everything about uh, our season in our country. I will discuss about it. Season, there are 6 seasons in Bangladesh. The 12 months in a year are divided into 6 seasons of 2 months duration each. Bangla calendar year is traditionally divided into 6 seasons. Grishyo, that means summer, Borsha, rainy, Sharad, autumn, Hemanto, late autumn, Shit, winter, and Bashanto, spring, which is the cold and hot months here. Bangladesh has a subtropical monsoon climate characterized by wide seasonal variations in rainfall, high temperatures, and humidity. There are three distinct seasons in Bangladesh: a hot, humid summer from March to June, a cool, rainy monsoon season from June to October, and a cool, dry winter from October to March. In general, maximum summer temperatures range between 30 degrees centigrade and 40 degrees centigrade. April is the warmest month in most part of this country of the country. Dhaka's highest ever temperature was recorded at 42.3 degrees Celsius in 1960, while the country's highest was recorded 45.1 degrees in Rajshahi on May 30 in 1972. January is the coldest month when the average temperature for most of the country is about 10 degrees centigrade. The lowest temperature of the country was recorded at 7.1 degrees centigrade at Tetulia in Panchgod, according to the Bangladesh Meteorological Department. On January 8, 2019, mercury fell to 2.6 degrees centigrade in Tetulia, the lowest ever recorded temperature in Bangladesh's history. The weather according to each season. Bangladesh is called the land of 6 seasons. It has a temperate climate because of its physical location. Though the climate of Bangladesh is mainly subtropical monsoon, warm and humid, Bangla calendar year is traditionally divided into 6 seasons: Grishyo, Barsha, Sharad, Hemanto, Shit, and Bashanto. Each season comprises 2 months, but some seasons flow into other seasons while others are short. Actually, Bangladesh has three distinct seasons: the pre-monsoon hot season from March through May, rainy monsoon season which lasts from June through October, and a cool dry winter season from November through February. However, March may also be considered as the spring season, and the period from mid-October through mid-November may be called the autumn. The pre-monsoon hot season is characterized by high temperature and occurrence of thunderstorms. April is the hottest month in the country when the mean temperature ranges from 27 degrees centigrade in the east and south to 31 degrees centigrade in the west central part of the country. After April, increasing cloud cover dampens temperature. Wind direction is variable in this season, especially during its early part. Rainfall accounts for 10 to 25% of the annual total, which is caused by thunderstorms. Summer, we call it Grishyo in Bengali. Summer comprises Boishakh and Joshtho. These are Bengali months. Mid-April to mid-June, the two Bangla calendar months when days are hot and dry. But the influence of summer is usually felt from mid-March. The heat of the sun dries up the water bodies, including the rivers, canals, and the wetlands. The summer days are longer than the nights. At this time, the southerly or southwesterly monsoons flow over the country. When dry and cool streams of air flowing from the west and northwest come in contact with rain-laden clouds, storms occur, which at times take a violent form. These storms are popularly known as Kal Boishakhi, nor'wester, or destructive Boishakhi storm. The Bengali year begins with summer, with the Pohela Boishak, first day of Boishak, being the Bangla New Year. Hindus observe many seasonal festivals during this period, including Jamai Shoshti, the sixth day of the bright fortnight in Jyestha, when a son-in-law is blessed by his parents-in-law. Summer is a season of fruits with mango, we call it blackberry, jam, Staple, Jamrul, Jackfruit, Kathal, Pineapple, Anaros, Guava, Peara, Lychis, Dewa, Artocarpus, Artocarpus lakucha, watermelon, chalta, latkan, pamera, and hawk plum available in plenty. This is also the time when roses, bokul, beli, togor, and jova flowers blossom.
Litchi is also available.
Yes, ma'am, lychee also. The rainy season, we call it Borsha, traditionally spreads over Ashad and Shravan, mid-June to mid-August. Ashad and Shravan, the Bengali name. However, the rainy season may start from the end of Boshak and last up to the beginning of Kartik, mid-May to late October. During the rainy season, the southwest monsoon winds bring plenty of rainfall, 70 to 85% of the annual total, and occasionally lasting for days without end without any respite. Most of the floodplains of the country remain inundated during this period. Depending upon the local elevation, the depth and duration of Barsha varies in different parts of Bangladesh. For instance, in low-lying parts like Haods, Beels, Jhils of Sylhet, Netrokona, Shirozganj, Kishorganj, Gopalganj, and Pabna districts, inundation lasts for the longest period, more than 6 months. In other places like the central parts of Bangladesh, it lasts for about 3 to 4 months. In the rural areas, boat navigation become a common mode of transport during this season. Plants updated with the summer heat receive a new lease of life under cool rains and Bangladesh becomes green. Farmers are busy for harvesting jute in the flood free areas and or shallowly flooded 0 to 30 centimeter depth areas for preparing paddy seed beds. Basha is also important for the fishing community of Bangladesh. Hilsa fish is available in plenty during this season. The inundated floodplains, floodplains become a large habitat for a wide variety of aquatic flora and fauna. At this time, plenty of edible herbs grow everywhere, as does the national flower lotus. This is the season of Kea, Kodam, Kamini, Jui, Gandharaj, and other fragrant flowers, as well as fruits like guava, pineapple, and pomelo. Autumn, we call it Sharut, lasts during Bhadro and Ashin, mid-August August to mid-October. This is traditionally the season when housewives put out clothes musty and damp because of the rains to air and dry in the hot sun of Bhadro. However, the bright day is often punctuated by sudden showers. The dark clouds in a gray sky, characteristics of the rainy season, are replaced by white clouds floating in the blue sky. Though at the beginning of this season, the days can be hot and sultry towards the end of the season. The nights and mornings become cool. The gradual decrease of humidity also makes the weather comfortable. During autumn, a large number of fragrant flowers blossom. Shivuli, roses, bokul, mollika, kamini, and madhuvi. The lotus grows in the wetlands and cash flower on the river fronts. This is also the time when the Pamera ripens. A major Hindu festival, Durga Puja, is celebrated during this season. Late autumn, we call it Hemanto. The fourth season covers Kartik and Agrahayan, mid-October to mid-December. Actually, it is a transitional phase between autumn and winter. By mid-November, the evening grow cool. The contrast between the daytime and nighttime temperatures result in heavy dew. This is also the time for colds, cough, and fever. In this season, farmers are very busy with harvesting paddy and celebrate Navanno with the new rice crop. Winter, sheep, the fifth season of the and the color part of the year in contrast to summer, the hotter. According to the Bangla calendar, it spreads over the months of Posh and Magh, mid-December to mid-February. But practically, November through February is the winter season in Bangladesh. Average temperatures in January vary from about 11 degrees centigrade in the northwestern and northeastern parts of the country to 20 degrees centigrade to 21 degrees centigrade in the coastal areas. Northern Bangladesh is cooler than southern Bangladesh, with occasional cold spells that claim lives. During this season, a center of high pressure lies over the northwestern part of India, Himalaya zone. A stream of cold air flows eastward from this high pressure and enters Bangladesh through its northwest corner. During this season, winds inside Bangladesh generally have a northerly component flowing from north to northwest. The winter season is very dry, which accounts for less than 4% of the total annual rainfall. Average rainfall during the season varies from less than 2 cm in the west and south to slightly over 4 cm in the northeast. Rainfall in this season is caused by the wind coming from the Mediterranean region that enters the country from the northwestern part of India along the Ganges basin. Rainfall amount is slightly enhanced in the northeastern Bangladesh by the orographic effects of the Meghalaya plateau. These rainy spells bring the temperature down. The nights are longer than the days and mornings are often foggy. This is the time when deciduous trees shed their leaves. Winter is the best and most enjoyable season of Bangladesh. A large variety of vegetables are available in the markets. So is fish, particularly large koi, magur, shing. Special flowers of the season are ganda and surjamukhi, boroi, and oranges are among the fruits of this season. Date juice is extracted during this time to be used as juice or made into good molasses. This is the season for pitha or rice cakes such as bhapa pitha, chitai pitha, patishapta, and puli pitha. The spring, we call it Bashanto. The last of the seasons occurs between winter and summer, spreads over the Bangla months Falgun and Chaitra, mid-February to mid-April. The spring season is very brief in Bangladesh and practically prevails during March only. During this season, winds are variable in direction because this is the time of transition between the northerly or northwesterly winds of winter and southerly or southwesterly winds of summer. Weather is normally pleasant with 20 to 25% cloud cover, comfortable temperature, and moderate relative humidity. Average temperature in March varies from 22 degrees centigrade to 25 degrees centigrade all over the country, with relative humidity ranging from 50 to 70%. However, temperature, cloud cover, and relative humidity during the early part of the season are lower than their respective average values. Occasionally, isolated thunderstorms may occur in the afternoon, especially during the second half of March. Spring is called the king of seasons. The climate at this time is very pleasant and inspires people to take morning and evening walks. At this time, the sky is clear and plants sprout new leaves. There are balmy breezes from the south, very welcome after the cold winter. Flame-colored shimul, palash, and Krishnachuda blossom, as does the golden Radhachuda and the Movajarul. Fruit trees such as mango and jackfruit also flower at this time. Spring is the advent of the cuckoo which sings hidden in the foliage. This is also the season for bees to become active gathering nectar. Wheat, oat, and mustard dominate the fields. Hindus celebrate pujas like Bashanti and Dol Jatra. In the past, this season was marked by epidemics like cholera and smallpox, which was called Bashanto. Smallpox has since been completely eradicated and cholera largely controlled. The seasons of Bangladesh regulate its economy, communication, trade and commerce, art and culture, and in fact the entirely lifestyle of the people. Now, my favorite season. Winter is my favorite season among the six major seasons in Bangladesh. Winter starts in November and ends in January. It is one of the longest seasons in the country. There are so many reasons that are why I love winter season most. Winter comes with so many surprises for me. First of all, I live in a hilly village where winter means celebration. I really enjoy waking up early in the morning. I saw people are going to work and few of them are collecting straw to make fire. I join them sometime, make fire and warm myself. It is really fun when people gather and spend time together. There are so many types of food and vegetable are available in this season. Foods remain fresh and they don't get spoiled. Farmers went to their field with their cows early in the morning and cattle stay in their cave. Today's weather here 31 degrees centigrade. You can see the statistics: wind gust, humidity, indoor humidity. This is today's weather in my place. Extreme weather. Bangladesh is seventh among the 10 countries worst hit by extreme weather events, says a global climate report. Puerto Rico, Myanmar, and Haiti top the list, which has three South Asian countries and seven Asian nations, said the Global Climate Risk Index (CRI) 2020 that analyzed data from 1999 to 2018. In the previous report that examined the data between 1998 and 2017, Bangladesh was at the ninth position. The study looked at four indicators: death toll, number of events, loss of property of each person, and loss of gross domestic product. The CRI 2020 is based on the loss figures of 181 countries. It said major disasters in Bangladesh. Uh, Major disasters in Bangladesh are there are flood, cyclone, and storm surge, tornado, drought, flash flood, hailstorm and lightning, erosion, landslide, earthquake. These are the disaster in Bangladesh. Present-day Bangladesh, due to its unique geographical location, suffers from devastating tropical cyclones frequently. The funnel-shaped northern portion of the Bay of Bengal amplifies the storm surge of landfalling tropical cyclones, affecting thousands of people. Some of the most devastating natural disasters in recorded history with high casualties were tropical cyclones that hit the region now comprising present-day Bangladesh. Among them, the 1970 Bhola cyclone alone claimed approximately 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs lives, making it the deadliest tropical cyclone on record. Tropical cyclones affecting Bangladesh have killed about 1.54 million people in Bengal, including India-ruled Bengal. Bangladesh Space Research and Remote Sensing Organization, SPARSO, a government agency under the Ministry of Defense, provides storm predictions and early warnings using feeds from NASA and NOAA's satellites. The warnings are usually given in a scale of 10, with 10 being used for the deadliest storms. A detailed program for storm prevention was outlined by the government following the cyclone of 1991. A comprehensive cyclone preparedness program (CPP) is jointly planned, operated, and managed by the Ministry of Disaster Management and Relief and the Bangladesh Risk Crescent Society. A volunteer force of more than 32,000 are trained to help in warning and evacuation in the coastal areas. Around 2,500 cyclone shelters have been constructed in the coastal regions. The shelters are built on elevated platforms and serve the dual role of schools or community centers during normal weather. In Patenga, Chittagong, the coast has been heavily protected with concrete leaves. Also, afforestation has been initiated in the coastal regions to create a green belt. Bangladesh has a long history of natural disasters. Between 1980 and 2008, it experienced 219 natural disasters. The geographical location, land characteristics, multiplicity of rivers, and the monsoon climate render Bangladesh highly vulnerable to natural hazards. The coastal morphology of Bangladesh influences the impact of natural hazards on the area. Bangladesh suffers from floods, cyclones, storm surge, riverbank erosion, earthquake, drought, salinity intrusion, fire, and tsunami. Cyclones and floods particularly caused massive damages. Cyclones occurred in 1970, 1991, 2007, and 2009 and killed 3,64,000, 1,36,000, 3 lakhs, no,
3,000.
3,363 and 190 respectively. You can see the flood prone areas here, the red marks, and these are flood prone areas of Bangladesh. And here drought prone areas. You can see in the picture. Cyclone prone areas, you see it mostly in south area of the country. And this is earthquake zone. You can see the red dot. These are earthquake zones. So that's all from me tonight. Thank you everyone for being patient and watching my presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So now
Okay.
I'm going to make Vidya ma'am host.
Thank you, sir. You gave information very well, detailed information.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very nice, sir.
You are now host, so you can continue your presentation.
Yes, now I'm going to tell you everything about my country. This section will be taken by Salimat. She will take this clear water and sanitization. And now I'm going to deal with seasons, which are the cold, hot months in your country. The climate of India consists of a wide range of weather conditions across a vast geographic scale and varied topography, making generalizations difficult. Climate in South India is generally hotter and more humid than that of North India. South India is more humid due to nearby coasts. The southern half of the nation doesn't experience temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius, that is 50 Fahrenheit, in winter, and the temperature usually tends to extend 40 degrees Celsius during summer. Based on the Köppen system, India hosts 6 major climatic subtypes ranging from arid deserts in the west, alpine tundra and glaciers in the north, and humid tropical regions supporting rainforest in the southwest and the island terraced. Many regions have starkly different microclimates, making it one of the most climatically diverse countries in the world. The country's meteorological department follows the international standard of 4 seasons with some local adjustments. Winter, that is from January to February. Summer, March, April, and May. Monsoon means rainy season, June to September, and post-monsoon period, October to December. Describe the weather according to each season in your country. In India, there are mainly 6 seasons as per the ancient Hindu calendar, the lunisolar Hindu. The 12 months in a year are divided into 6 seasons of 2 months duration each. These seasons include Vasanta Ritu, that is spring, Grishma Ritu, summer, Varsha Ritu, that is monsoon, Sharad Ritu, that is autumn, Hemant Ritu, pre-winter, and Shishir Ritu, winter. These are the 6 seasons.
Same as Bangladesh, ma'am.
Yeah, same. Spring season, Vasanta Ritu. It is pleasant and beautiful season with an average temperature of 32 degrees centigrade. It starts after the winter and lasts till summer starts. The day becomes longer and nights become shorter in this season. The people come out of the blankets and woolen clothes and start wearing light clothes. They are filled with excitement and happiness. The trees shed their leaves, new leaves start appearing. Birds and animals also love this season and are happy in this season. Birds start chirping, singing, and butterflies start hovering over the flowers. Besides this, many famous Hindu festivals are celebrated in spring season, such as Holi, Vasanta Panchami, Gudi Padwa, Baisakhi, Hanuman Jayanti, and more. Now we are going to see second summer season, that is Grishma Ritu. It is also a 2-month duration season that includes the months of May and June. As per the Hindu calendar, this season mainly occurs in Jyeshtha and Ashadha. In this season, the weather is very hot in most of the parts of India. The season starts with the end of April and lasts till the end of June. Duration after spring and before autumn. The average temperature remains around 38 degrees centigrade. The days are longest in this season, while the nights have the shortest duration. Due to the scorching sun and high temperature, the water level of ponds, rivers go down, and people, including animals, birds, etc., feel uncomfortable and tends to stay inside as much as they could. Although this season may be annoying, it is good for the crops as they ripen only in the summer season. Also, there are lots of options in this season to stay hydrated and beat the heat, such as watermelon, fruit juices, lassi, ice cream, lemon water, and more. The major Indian festivals celebrated in the summer season are Guru Purnima and Rath Yatra. Then monsoon, that is Varsha Ritu. It includes the months of July and August. As per Hindu calendar, this season comes in the months of Shravana and Bhadrapada, Sawan and Bhado. As the name indicates, rainfall occurs in most of India in this season. As compared to the summer season, the days are short and nights are long. In this season, and the average temperature remains around 34 degrees centigrade. It is sometimes called a green season by the officials of the tourism sector. The earth is carpeted with greenery, birds sing melodiously, and level of water rises in the rivers, ponds, and canals in this season. The sky is filled with black clouds before it rains, and rainbow can be seen in the sky after the rain stops. The important Hindu festivals that are celebrated in this season are Onam, Krishna Janmashtami, and Raksha Bandhan. Then autumn, that is Sharad Ritu. The season of autumn comes in the months of September and October as per the Hindu calendar. This season comes in Ashwin and Kartik months. The hot and humid weather starts disappearing and leaves start falling off the trees in this season. So it is also known as the fall season. The sky becomes clearer as compared to the monsoon season, and clear moon can be seen in the sky along with countless stars that look like pearls scattered in the sky. The water of the rivers and ponds settle down and becomes clean, and there is no mud in the villages. The insects and mites gradually start disappearing with the arrival of autumn. It starts after the monsoon or rainy season and lasts till the start of the pre-winter season. The average temperature in this season remains 33 degrees centigrade. The major Hindu festivals are Navaratri, Sharad Purnima, which is celebrated at the harvest festival, and Vijayadashmi, that is Dashahara, to celebrate the victory of Rama over Ravana. Then pre-winter, that is Hemanta Ritu. This season comes in the months of November and December as per the Hindu calendar. This season occurs in the Agrayana and Pausha, that is Aghan and Pus months. It starts with the end of October and lasts till the start of winter season or January. So it precedes the winter season. This season is moderately cold with an average temperature of around 27 degrees centigrade. It is the transition from autumn to winter and is the most pleasant and enjoyable time of the year. The days become shorter than nights, and the nights are foggy, colder. Rainfall is occasional in this season. The flowers that bloom in this season are hibiscus, rose, bougainvilleas, jasmine, and more. The important Hindu festivals which are celebrated in this season include Diwali and Bhai Dooj. Besides so many benefits, there are also a few things that are not liked in this season. Then winter or Shishir, that is Shita Ritu. The winter season in India comes in the months of January and February as per the Hindu calendar. This season occurs in the months of Magh and Falguna. This season lies between pre-winter and spring season. This season is characterized by dryness, cold winds, occasional rainfall, and snowfall. In the coldest season of the year, with an average temperature of around 20 degrees centigrade, in some regions, temperature falls below 0 degrees centigrade, and snowfall is also very common in most of the hill stations of India in this season. The Kharif crops ripen in this season. A large variety of fruits, flowers, and green vegetables are available in abundance in this season. The major Hindu festivals celebrated in winter season include Pongal, Shivaratri, Lohari, and Pongal. It is repeated. Now, which is your favorite season? Rainy season is my favorite season. Rainy season gives new life to everyone on this earth, like plants, trees, grasses, animals, birds, human beings. Rainy season has very pleasant weather and cool breeze and rain showers. In rainy season, plants, trees, and grasses look very green and attractive. Dark clouds and lightning are very common during the rainy season. Rainy season helps farmers by providing rainwater needed for good cultivation of crops. Rainy season is of great importance for the Indian farmers as they really need more water for their crops and cultivation. So I like this season very much. What is the weather like today in your country? Is it cold or what? Nasik weather today, light rain, total 2 mm, mostly falling on Tuesday afternoon. Warm, maximum 29 degrees centigrade on Tuesday afternoon, minimum 23 degrees centigrade. on Wednesday night. Mainly fresh winds are blowing there. Is extreme weather common in your country? As in much of the tropics, monsoonal and other weather patterns in India can be strongly variable. Epochal droughts, heat waves, floods, cyclones, and other natural disasters are sporadic but have displaced or ended millions of human lives. Climate-related natural disasters cause massive losses of human life and property. Droughts, flash floods, cyclones, avalanches, landslides brought on by torrential rains and snowstorms pose the greatest threats. Other dangers include frequent summer dust storms, which usually track from north to south. They cause extensive property damage in North India and deposit large amounts of dust from arid regions. Hail is also common in parts of India, causing severe damage to standing crops such as rice and wheat. Does your country experience snow, hurricanes, tornadoes? Well, India faces deadliest of hurricanes every year. But we don't call them hurricanes, but we call them as cyclones. India generally doesn't have the tornadoes, and one or two are reported very rarely, and most of them are very small ones. That is harmless one, and only one or two over a gap of many years becomes very deadly. The last major tornado to hit India was West Bengal tornado in 1993 in Gayagotha, very near to Kolkata. It caused 145 lives. First reported tornado of India and also probably of Asia was Calcutta tornado in 1838, which caused the death of 215 people. Have you ever experienced a natural disaster? Maharashtra is prone to various disasters such as drought, floods, cyclones, earthquakes, and accidents. While low rainfall areas of the state are under the constant risk of droughts, high rainfall zones of eastern and western Maharashtra are prone to flash floods and landslides, but luckily I haven't experienced any natural disaster up till now. About clean water and sanitization, this section will be covered by Saili ma'am. It's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very nice presentation as usual.
Okay, thank you. To whom shall I make a host now?
Kamal sir. Kamal sir.
Highly, ma'am.
Very nice.
Shall.
Okay,
To whom?
I am ready. Okay.
Okay.
Highly, ma'am said that she has some problem, so she want to present third places.
No, she was saying that she want to present last. Okay, now I have made her host. Saili ma'am, you can continue. Hello.
Hello. Am I audible? Madam?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Audible.
Okay. So can I share my screen?
I have already
yes, ma'am.
started sharing your screen.
Okay, it is already there on my screen. So I have shared now with them.
Okay.
If I get problem,
very
then-
colorful
Okay.
presentation.
Let's see how it goes on. That is the question.
Okay.
So shall I start?
Yes, you can.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. Welcome all dear friends from India and Bangladesh in our 13th session of telecollaboration project, telecollaboration program 2021. So today's topics, Vidya ma'am has very nicely discussed about the seasons in India, and the second topic about clean water and sanitization, I am going to tell. Pure water. Pure water is the world's first and the foremost medicine. Water is the very bare need of human beings. Man can live without anything, but man cannot live without water. it is our duty to save every drop of the water. Though today man has invented and man has done tremendous progress in technology, and though he is inventing and discovering innovative techniques to soothe human life, still we are, or our scientists or our technologists have not yet discovered the technique of preparing water into the laboratories. So water is natural. So in the nature, water should not be get, water level should not be get lower and lowest, because that will be harmful for all the living animals on the earth. Objectives, targets and indicators, current status. What is the current status and figures of clean water and sanitization of your country? SDG 6 has 8 targets. 6 of them are to be achieved by the year 2030 and one by the year 2020, and one has no target here. Each of the targets also has one or two indicators which will be used to measure progress. Target number 6.1, safe and affordable drinking water. The full title of target 6.1 is by 2030 achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water for all. This target has one indicator. Indicator 6.1.1 is the proportion of population using safely managed drinking water services. The definition of safely managed drinking water service is drinking water from an improved water source that is located on premises, available when needed, and free from fecal and priority chemical contamination. Between 2000 and 2015, the percentage of global population using safely managed drinking water serviced has increased from 61 to 71%. But this remained unchanged in 2017. In total, 785 million people around the world still lacked basic drinking water service. In 2017, only 71% of the global population used safely managed drinking water. This means that 2.2 billion persons were still without safely managed drinking water in 2017. Demand-driven approaches in rural water supply. Most rural water supply schemes in India use centralized supply-driven approach. That is, government institution design a project and has it built with little community consultation and no capacity building for the community, often requiring no water fees to be paid for its subsequent uh, subsequent operation. Since 2002, the government of India has rolled out at the national level a program to change the way in which water and sanitization services are supported in rural areas. The program called Sojala Dhara decentralizes service delivery responsibility to rural local government and user groups. Under the new approach, communities are being consulted and trained, and users agree up front to pay a tariff that is set at a level sufficiently high to cover operation and maintenance costs. It also includes measures to promote sanitation and to improve hygiene behavior. The national program follows a pilot program launched in 1999. According to 2008 World Bank study in 10 Indian states, Swajal Dhara results in lower capital costs, lower administrative costs, and better service quality compared to the supply driven approach. In particular, the study found that the average full cost of supply driven scheme is rupees 38 per cubic meter, while it is only rupees 26 per cubic meter for demand driven schemes. Target 6.2 end open defecation and provide access to sanitization and hygiene. The full title of target 6.2 is by 2030, achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitization and hygiene for all and end open defecation, paying a special attention to the needs of women and girls and those in vulnerable situations. This target has one indicator. Indicator 6.2.1 is the proportion of population using safety managed sanitation services, and second one is hand washing facility with soap and water. Target 6.3 improve water quality, wastewater treatment and safe reuse. Target 6.3 is formulated by as by 2030 improve water quality by reducing pollution, eliminating dumping and minimizing release of hazardous chemicals and materials, having the proportion of untreated wastewater and substantially increasing recycling and safe reuse globally. This is also a sanitation related target, as wastewater treatment is part of sanitation. The target has two indicators. Indicator 6.3.1 proportion of domestic and industrial wastewater flows safely treated, and indicator 6.3.2 proportion of bodies of water with good ambient water quality. Target 6.4 increase water use efficiency and ensure fresh water supplies. Target 6.4 is formulated as by 2030 substantially increase water use efficiency across all sectors and ensure sustainable withdrawals and supply of fresh water to address water scarcity and substantially reduce the number of people suffering from water scarcity. Demand driven approach in rural water supply. Most rural water supply schemes in India use a centralized supply driven approach, that is a government institution design a project that has, am I read this? I think
Yes, ma'am.
I have read this slide.
Okay,
I
pass
have read
it.
it. Hello.
You can pass it, ma'am.
Okay. Target 6.5 implement of IWRM. Uh, Target 6.5 is formulated as by 2030 implement integrated water resources management at all levels, including through transboundary cooperation as appropriate. The two indicators include indicator 6.5.1 degree of integrated water resources management and indicator 6.5.2 proportion of transboundary basin area with an operational arrangement of water cooperation. Target 6.6 protect and restore water related ecosystems. Target 6.6 is by 2020 protect and restore water related ecosystems, including mountains, forests, wastelands, rivers, aquifers, and lakes. It has one indicator. Indicator 6.6.1 is change in the extent of water related ecosystems over time. Impact of COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected the urban poor living in the slums with little or no access to clean water. The pandemic has shown the importance of sanitization, hygiene, and adequate access to clean water to prevent disease. According to the World Health Organization, hand washing is one of the most effective actions you can take to reduce the spread of pathogens and prevent infections, including the COVID-19 virus. The world is being asked to wash hands multiple times in a day. Wash and sanitize every object brought from outside. Sanitize all public transport at a certain interval in a day. The water consumption as well as the wastewater generation all across the globe have now increased manifold. The UN Habitat is working with partners to facilitate access to running water and hand washing in informal settlements. With the increased exploitation of water resources in 2020, is reported that by 2030, 700 million people might be displaced by water scarcity. Monitoring high-level progress reports for all the SDGs are published in the form of reports by the United Nations Secretary General. The most recent one is from April 2020. The report before that was from May 2019. Additionally, update and progress can also be found on the SDG website that is managed by the United Nations. What steps are being implemented by your government to improve clean water and sanitization? Building political will and administrative commitment, demonstration, learning and retail technical assistance, large scale rollout and institutionalization of capacity building. Further increasing political will and an administrative commitment by identifying and creating local sanitation campaigns at the district level, for example, through exposure visits and evidence-based advocacy, and addressing key institutional bottlenecks such by supporting the state to formulate a state-specific sanitation policy, uh, providing technical support to selected districts to demonstrate that sanitation can be delivered at the scale of a district and a sustainable manner, and to develop district-wide approaches that are tailored to a particular state. Third one is supporting the strengthening of state governments institutional capacity to roll out the successful model to other districts, eventually covering the entire state. The Sustainable Sanitation Alliance means Susane has made it its mission to help achieve target 6.2 and 6.3. The Sustainable Sanitation Alliance, that is Susan A, is a loose network of organizations who are working along the same lines towards achieving sustainable sanitation. It began its work in 2007, 1 year before the United Nations International Year of Sanitation in 2008. The intention of creating Susan A was to have a joint label for the planned activities for 2008 and line the various organizations for the initiatives. Susane has over 360 partner organizations and over 13,000 individual members as of March 2021. Susane's vision document contains a definition of sustainable sanitation, which was developed by Susan Partners in 2007. The discussion forum that is hosted by Susan performs like a community of practice, that is COP. Susan A is not NGO. It not is not an NGO. That is non-government organization. It has no legal structure and takes no membership fees. It encourages other other organizations to join the network and to become active members in the thematic working groups. Global organizations such as Oxfam, UNICEF, WaterAid, and many small NGOs, as well as universities, research centers, private enterprises, government-owned entities, etc., are all parts of Susane and are dedicated to achieving SDG 6. Oxfam is a confederation of 20 independent charitable organizations now focusing on the elevation of global poverty, founded in 1942 and led to Oxfam International. It is a major non-profit group with an executive collection of operations. Winnie Van Mia was the executive director of Oxfam International from 2013 to 2019. UNICEF, also the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, is a United Nations agency responsible for providing humanitarian and development aid to children worldwide. The agency is among the most widespread and recognizable social welfare organizations in the world. With a presence of 192 countries and territories, UNICEF's activities uh, include providing immunizations and disease prevention, administering treatment for children and mothers with HIV, enhancing childhood and maternal nutrition, improving sanitation, promoting education, and providing emergency relief in response of disasters. WaterAid. WaterAid is an international non-governmental organization focused on water, sanitization, and hygiene. It was set up in 1981 as a response to the UN International Drinking Water Decade. It operates in 34 countries as of 2018. The organization was first established by the UK water industry on 21st July 1981 as a charitable trust at their main office premises in London and established first projects in Zambia and Sri Lanka. In 2010, it becomes a federation comprising as of 2018 members in the United Kingdom, USA, Australia, Japan, Sweden, Canada, and India, and regional offices and country programs in 27 countries of Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Activities involve providing people with clean water, safe sanitation and hygiene, behavior change and advocacy with governments and water utilities. Its income has moved from pound 1 million per annum in 1987 to pound 113 million in 2018-19. Bhumi. The Revive Lakes project by the NGO Bhumi was started with the aim of cleaning and restoring the lakes and other water bodies. They bring drying and dying lakes back to life and help the people to Bengaluru fight shortage of water. The Revive Lakes team consists of 30 volunteers who are tirelessly working towards cleaning the lakes and spreading awareness among people in the vicinity. The volunteers of Bhumi meet every weekend with the sole aim to clean lakes and create a city free from water shortage. The Vibhutipura Lake project involved more than 250 volunteers, which helped the lake get rid of more than 7,000 kg of garbage. Following the cleanup, the team also conducted door-to-door campaigning to create awareness about conserving the water body and keeping its surroundings clean. They also conduct many tree plantation drives in and around Bengaluru. Swades Foundation. Swades believes that it is every individual's right to receive safe and sanitized drinking water. This NGO working towards conservation of water bodies in Maharashtra aims at ensuring that every family in its geography receives their share of 200 liters of water per day through taps and pipes, in addition to other basic facilities such as sanitation, healthcare, and livelihood. Gramin Vikas Vijnana Samiti, with an aim to support the lives of millions of people living across 1,500 villages spread across Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, and Uttar Pradesh. Gramin Vikas Vigyan Samiti was born, also known as Gravis, with NGOs has positively impacted nearly 1.3 million lives. Keeping in mind the water scarcity and inadequate sanitation facility in drought affected areas of the Thar Desert, and Gravis has taken up the responsibility of promoting water security through conventional methods such as rainwater harvesting through uh, tankas, the berries, shallow beach-shaped wells, and desilting of Nadi's rivers. So far, Gravis has built nearly 6,635 tankas, 588 berries, and desilted 263 nadis. With these initiatives, Gravis has supported lakhs of families in and around the villages they have worked in, providing them stable sources of clean drinking water and sanitation. Now, Jyoti India Foundation, apart from bringing about a positive change in the lives of the marginalized sections of the society and promoting women empowerment, Dr. Kiran Bedi started Now Jyoti India Foundation to protect the environment and conserve water bodies as well. They promote adopting sustainable means of life, working in close collaboration with students, women-led community groups, youth volunteers, and Gram Panchayat. This NGO for water conservation works towards creating clean and green landscape to ensure sustainability of natural resources. The water conservation enterprise works on the concept of rainwater harvesting. They collect the excess rainwater and help in replenishing groundwater. They also work towards restoration of lake, ponds, and other water bodies. These are the different kinds of missions, campaigns going on in India. Swachh Bharat Mission, Swachh Bharat Vidyalaya, free toilet schemes, Hagandari Mukt Gaon Yojana, and Maharashtra Jivan Pradhikaran Prakalpa, Tapi Khore Vikas Pradhikaran Prakalpa, River Joint Project. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, ma'am. Very nice presentation.
Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
So, shall I?
Hi.
Yeah, Kamal sir. Okay.
Nice presentation, ma'am. Very detailed.
Kamal sir, you are host now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you all for your nice presentation. Now I starting my presentation. My topic is what is the objectives and targets.
Whose battery is running low? Mine?
No, ma'am, mine.
Okay. Plug in.
Kamal sir is disconnected.
What to do then?
Shaili ma'am also disconnected.
Yeah, 2 participants. We both are there only. Stop recording for some time, sir.
Okay.
Sorry for the disturbance. So, what is the objectives and targets of the clean water and sanitization of my country? Joint Monitoring Progress 2017, jointly issued by the World Health Organization (WHO) and UNICEF, opened defecation in Bangladesh to be at 0%. A tremendous achievement for a country where the same rate stood at 34% on 1990. However, Bangladesh failed to meet the Millennium Development Goal (MDG) of the halving the proportion of population without access to improved sanitation by the deadline of 2050. Much of the population, mostly concentrated in hard-to-reach geographical areas or amongst socio-economically vulnerable populations, are still using poor sanitation. Furthermore, public sanitation facilities in Bangladesh are terrible. If we consider Dhaka as an example, the capital used to have less than 50 toilets to serve a population of 5.5 million on the streets. Women and girls, as well as people with the disabilities, suffers the most and are often forced to completely forego any means of relieving themselves while on the road. Another often neglected issue is that of menstruation and making sure that women and girls, whether at home, in school, or in the workplace, have access to toilets and sanitary materials so they can manage their periods with dignity. These are challenges that threaten to reverse Bangladesh's progress on many levels. A global report on health status of 188 countries based on the health-related Sustainability Development Goals (SDG) indicators found Bangladesh to be on the poorest performing countries in South Asia, legs by only Nepal and Afghanistan. This report clearly shows that no country can make sustainable progresses on the global health goals without addressing the critical components of water, sanitation, and hygiene. Bangladesh can create an example to be the exact the next revolution in sanitation in Bangladesh. The state has made a number of commitments on sanitation in Section 6 and 7 5 years plan, and 11 members high-level panel on water (HLPW) was launched by the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and President of the World Bank Group, Jim Young Kim, in April 2016 to mobilize urgent action towards SDG 6 and related targets, to which Sheikh Hasina, the Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, was nominated. Here a graph you see, portable pathway to achieve SDG 6 targets for school-going children, 2015 to 2019, 2029, and here is showing 2019. Water, sanitation, and hygiene. At hilly terrains, urban slums, river islands, coastal regions, and wetlands, there is still very few reliable access to safe water sources. Here are some figure: drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene. 55% of population in Bangladesh use safety managed drinking water services. SDGs indicator 6.1.1 2017, and 10% of population in Bangladesh use safely managed sanitation service. SDG indicator 6.2.1 in 2017, and hygiene. 35% of people in Bangladesh have access to basic hand washing facility. SDG indicator 6.2.1b 2017.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
please show the slide again. Show me that one before this one. Huh?
Okay.
No, not this.
Okay.
That
Previous
0%
slide.
sanitation. That 0% sanitation. Yes. What is mean by that? The
Not
middle
zero,
one.
not
Yeah.
zero. Not zero, dash.
Dash.
Huh?
No,
Not
What
zero
is
is
meaning
also
there?
not there.
Not zero,
What's its
not
meaning?
identified. Not identified.
Okay.
Means not identified of the population in Bangladesh uses safety managed sanitization service.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And hygiene 35% and drinking water 55%.
55%. Yeah.
And wastewater, 60% of the household wastewater in Bangladesh are safely treated.
Safely treated again.
Hmm.
And water quality. This is not identified of water bodies covered by reporting in Bangladesh have a good ambient water
Good ambient water quality.
and efficiency 6 square square this was not written.
We have to find out that afterwards.
Yes. Okay. Is the value added from the use of water by people and the economy of Bangladesh? It is the indicator 6.4 on the water use efficiency 2018.
Okay.
Here the targets of clean water and sanitation of my country. The action plan proposed by the government of Bangladesh considering SDG 6 includes the following outcome and targets. Bangladesh would ensure access to safe, adequate, and equitable water supply for all, with a target of improving water supply coverage to 100% both in urban and rural area by 2020. Bangladesh would ensure 90% of hygienic sanitation coverage with special attention to physically challenged and socially excluded population by 2030. Another targets is ensuring safe yield from groundwater sources of water and their preservation and conservation by 2020 through appropriate actions. The Water Act is already in place and continuous monitoring up to 2030.
30.
Percentage of population using a hand washing facility with water and soap is aggregated by location, home, school, and health center. These are the targets and what steps are being implemented by government to improve clean water. Safer sanitation and hygiene. This project is implemented by UNICEF. And WASH project. This project is implemented by BDRCS. And BRAC WASH project. This project implemented by renowned NGO BRAC. Water supply and sanitation project. This project is implemented by Department of Public Health and Engineering Department. This is the government department. WASH block project for primary and secondary schools. This project also implemented by Public Health and Engineering Department. And another plan is Delta Plan 21st Century for Sustainable Water Management. Here's some
Local, national, international.
There's some local, national, and international organization. This is the government organization, Department of Public Health and Engineering Department. This is the biggest department to implement clean water and sanitization in Bangladesh. They provide tube well or wash block or toilet facilities, and they are implemented by the local government, Union Parishad chairman, member, municipality. These are the roles. And Ministry of Local Government. Ministry of Local Government also help to improve our clean water and sanitation system. They provide tube well and sanitation also, or school level education, school level, or any personal level also. And Ministry of Water Resources, they also works for clean water and sanitation. And here are some national and international NGOs. United Nations mostly work in all over the Bangladesh for clean water and sanitation. USAID, World Vision, UNICEF, UNDP, World Bank, and Water Aid. Water Aid also work, huge amount work in all over the Bangladesh for clean water and sanitation. There are some local NGO, BRAC WASH, ASHA, Caritas, Shabolombi, and KRBT. They also work for our clean water and sanitization. And that's all from my side. And thank you all for connected with me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have presented nicely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very nice, sir.
But short.